Welcome back to the FanSpeak Network. And we are doing a series, Rookies to Target in Best Ball. That's right. The NFL draft just ended last week and BBM and best ball season is officially here. And now Steve and I are covering a series, our 10 favorite rookies to target the most in best ball drafts. And that's drafts now early in best ball season. And likely if their price stays right, they're going to be rookies that we want to target a lot, like be way over the field on. We've done 3 already. This is our 4th. We'll be doing a total of 10. And today we are talking about Steve and I's favorite. He was our favorite during big board season. He's still our favorite. And that is, of course, running back Cam Skattebo. Steve, you got me on Cam Skattebo early and often during big board season. For the people who maybe haven't watched FanSpeak Network and haven't seen us obsessively talk about Cam Skattebo, tell me why you like him as a running back prospect so much.
So coming into the draft process, this was definitely one of the deepest running back classes we've had. And Genty was no doubt the number 1 back, unquestionably. And then you had a lot of other good backs. We saw Hampton, Henderson, Junkins go early, Caleb Johnson and Harvey also go in the 3rd round. But then it started to, there became this group of guys. And Skattebo, to me, just rose to the top in that area. One, if you watch any college football this year, but particularly the college football playoffs, starting with the Big 12 championship versus Iowa State, Skattebo just literally and figuratively carried this team as far as he did.
Yeah.
They didn't have, I believe, a single other player go to the combine. There's over 350 players invited to the combine, and I believe he was the only Arizona State player invited. They do have a good receiver, but here's the thing that's coming out next year, Tyson. But he's not going to be, he wasn't on the team during that run because he was injured. So he literally carried this team against Texas, who, if you watch the draft this past weekend, had not only their offensive guys, but had 6-7 defensive guys taken. I mean, very deep, very talented Texas defense. And that's what he does, is he can do it all. He breaks tackles, he runs, he can have high volume. He's also a great receiver out of the backfield, runs real routes, not just dump offs. So he was kind of why we liked him, and why I liked him specifically was he was kind of landing spot agnostic coming in. If you were if he was going to a team where he would just kind of get a passing game work, great. If he was going to a team just getting goal line work, great. If he went to a team, and this is where I think he went, a team like the Giants, who will probably give him the most carries, goal line work, and a decent share of the passing game work, fantastic. And that's what he landed with early 4th round draft capital. Yes, they have Tyrone Tracy, but Tyrone Tracy is more like a Jalen Warren. He's kind of your 1B back, and he can catch the ball pretty well, but I don't see Tyrone Tracy being a 200-plus carry back. I think he's probably getting about 150 carries, and I think the rest are going to Cam Skattebo, depending on how good the Giants' offense could be. That could be 200, 250, maybe even more. We comped him all year to guys like James Conner, Najee Harris, David Montgomery. You look, those are guys who, even in times where they split the backfield, like David Montgomery or Najee Harris, they're getting 250 carries. They're getting 30.
Goal line work, high leverage touches too.
Oh, absolutely. Montgomery and Conner for sure. And also they're still getting 30-plus receptions. I mean, Montgomery is the perfect example of this. Jahmyr Gibbs, one of the most electric backs in the league, has trouble getting dominating touches because Monty is so good. And I think Skattebo actually has the chances to be even better than Tyrone Tracy. But I think this is a good 1A situation for him, and that's exactly what we're looking for. And his ADP has risen slightly, but it hasn't gone to a point where it's anywhere near prohibitive.
Right. And just to elaborate, because I know you did kind of rookie pre-draft rankings. So there was obviously day 1 or night 1, it was Genty and Amari and Hampton go. Then night 2, it was Junkins, Harvey, or round 2, it was Junkins, Harvey. Was there anybody else before Caleb Johnson? Oh yeah. Junkins, Harvey, Henderson, round 2. And then Caleb Johnson, round 3. So there were 6 guys day 1 and 2. And then it was Bashal Tootin was the first off the board to the Jaguars day 3, round 4. So that was 7. And Cam Skattebo was the 8th running back taken, correct? Yep. I was just taking, because he was very early round 4 to the Giants. Mm-hmm. And I was just trying to remember what number was he. So, you say, day 3 capital. Well, it was very early round 4. And he was the 8th running back of this massive running back class, which I don't even know what the total. I know we were speculating it would be a well over 25 running backs drafted. I know some were very late, like 5th to 7th round, but I don't know how many were total. But he ended up being the 8th running back taken. Quite honestly, I think the Giants, as a Washington fan, it pains me, but I think the Giants got a steal in Cam Skattebo. You got me on him early and often, just like sending me clips to be like, watch this clip. And again, just how much he dominated at Arizona State. But you kept talking about it, like he can run between the tackles. He can, run pitch outside. He can be explosive in the passing game. No, he doesn't have the long speed, and that's what everybody kept talking about, but he does still have burst, like that I know Underdog Network showed it, that play where he like runs outside, gets past 2 defenders and just like basically arm pushes the guy into the end zone. I mean, he doesn't have long speed, but he still has burst and explosiveness. And I know one of the favorite things about him that you loved was his contact balance, right?
Yeah, just tremendous contact balance. Almost never goes down on first contact. And a lot of that time, that's first contact, not from some 160-pound college corner. We're talking defensive ends, defensive linemen, and even at the college game, they're big, they're strong, good linebackers. And the other thing is, you talk about the lack of the long speed. Najee Harris, he does not have a 40-yard run in his career. Doesn't have long speed, right? But the last 2 years, he's been top 5 in the league in 20-plus yard runs. Mm-hmm. So that's something that's Skattebo's same sort of wheelhouse. And sure, every now and then he could break one for 40, 50 yards if everything goes well, but he's going to get a lot of like 10, 15, even 20-yard chunks, both in the passing game and both running the football, because he is breaking those couple tackles or past the line of scrimmage and then getting you more. And then the other thing is he will turn that negative gain or run for no yards to 3 yards, 4 yards. Mm-hmm. And that can just help keep the chains moving, get you more total carries, and just help add up to your total rushing score. Yes, he might, have more games where he's getting 20, 25 carries. But that's the kind of volume that he can handle, unlike some other backs who are more specific for, 10 to 15 carries.
Well, I was just looking up. Tyrone Tracy had 5 rushing touchdowns last year. Did he have any receiving touchdowns? 1. So he had
1.
Yeah, he had 1 receiving touchdown, 5 rushing touchdowns. I just think Cam Skattebo is a perfect fit to like run between tackles, be that back for the high leverage touches around the goal line. Similar, like you said, that David Montgomery, James Conner, Najee Harris. Like, I think this is a guy who, and I do think, that the Giants are going to have an improved offense this year. I think this is a guy who is we're looking at could have a potential nice, touchdown equity, first of all. And then he still can be involved in the passing game, even with Tracy too. So you and I see Skattebo as the 1A to Tracy 1B in this situation. We could be wrong, but that's how we believe. And we'll see what camp reports and all that say, but we're on in big board season. We want to be on it early. We think, all the coach speak sounded really good about how impressed they were with everything you said, the versatility, how many ways he can be effective in the run and pass game. So I can't wait to see Cam Skattebo, even though he plays for Washington's division rival. We think he's the 1A to Tracy's 1B. I mean, remember, there wasn't a ton of draft capital spent on Tracy. Cam Skattebo was early 4th. Tracy was a 5th rounder the year prior. Yeah. And he looked good, but like, it obviously wasn't good enough, So, 5 touchdowns aren't going to keep you from drafting somebody else. They obviously needed, a running mate, and we think he's the 1A. So now let's talk price. Steve, I'm going to bring over the Underdog prices. So this is obviously the current BBM prices, and Cam Skattebo is currently 99.6. Now I've seen him going pretty solidly in the 90s, basically. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps going up. Currently, Tracy is above him, but I've seen Tracy falling and Skattebo moving up. I think that's correct. I think that's how it should be. And I think that will continue, quite honestly. I think Skattebo will continue to go higher in the potentially, early 90s, late 80s. And I think Tracy will fall into the early 100s or somewhere around there. How do you see it with these prices and why you like Skattebo as a buy with who he goes around? Now, I know we need, Najee Harris needs to fall more. DeAndre Swift is probably going to rise more, based on obviously Chicago not drafting a running back early or mid rounds, basically. And then we talked about Tracy. Warren probably needs to fall more because we go see our Caleb Johnson video, why we think Warren should fall more. Brian Robinson, even though not an early draft pick, just always kind of been pretty mid, honestly, like not explosive, exciting. I would rather the mystery box of Cam Skattebo. So the only one that like is tempting to me is Jordan Mason. I do think he could have a nice like high value, high leverage touches for the Vikings, and that's a very obviously a top offense. So outside of Jordan Mason, you look at these guys, or you want to get some shares of Swift because of what Chicago didn't do in the draft for the running back position. Outside of those two, all these other guys, it's Cam Skattebo for me. How do you see it with the pricing?
Yeah, and like you said, and look, the ADP will shift on a number of these guys, but Skattebo is somebody I definitely feel very confident with. You look above him, once you get past Pollard, all these guys you can make a negative case for. And even Swift, like we'll see what it ends up in Chicago long term, if they sign somebody, whatnot. But if that's a split backfield, Swift might not be getting the high leverage touches. So you just have a situation where Skattebo could be a touchdown hunter. And yes, Mason is potentially that same thing as well, but we just don't know. And, the Kansas City offense, the Washington offense, the Jacksonville offense below them, these are very fluid situations that have potentially three backs in the mix. So I think Skattebo and Tracy
right now, Jacksonville is 4.
Yeah. And I think, and so is Kansas City, So it's a situation where I feel much more certainty about Skattebo. I still think, similar to Jaylen Warren, there is a value for Tracy, but it
should go lower.
Yeah. Like I'm going to take Tracy and even Warren like in the low 100s, but Skattebo should be in that honestly 85 to 95 range. So he's getting close to it. But to me, if you right after Tony Pollard, Skattebo's the next guy I feel safe about.
Yeah.
And we'll just see as camp reports go on, because it also could get really good. Like we could hear late in the year that if we hear that he's getting Najee Harris type work, that's been 250 carries, that's been like 30 plus receptions, and and he has even better touchdown equity than Harris has had. It could be really good. And, again, the value that you're getting right now is pretty good. And I feel he's one of the safer picks in this area, which also, which I do think most people are realizing. But because of that, with so much information up in the air on a number of teams, I feel very confident about Skattebo as having him as my third or fourth running back for sure.
I was going to say, the way we build, he's usually our third or fourth running back, and that feels extra nice because it's not like he's our anchor. It's not like he's usually our second. He's usually our third or fourth, and that even better.
And if you are going
hunting on underdog,
and if you are going zero RB in this area, he's got, to me, the highest upside, and he's got the best floor. So he would 100% be my target in a zero RB build as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think whether you're doing like an anchor, double anchor, zero RB, he kind of fits in all those molds, all those type of structural builds as well. So, this has been fun. Again, we have been obsessive about Cam Skattebo the whole big board season. We're not stopping now. We're very happy with the landing spot of the New York Giants. I know some people maybe don't feel as comfortable with that. We do, and that's where, we can agree to disagree. We do. And again, if camp reports are good, this is a type of pick where, we could see him going, I don't know, 70s, 80s, so like, that's why I'm still trying to actively buy. We're definitely buying now at his price. We'll likely be buying for a while. And I just think if we get more camp reports, then it would still be worth the buy. Even if he went up closer to some of those other rookie running backs. So we're big Skattebo fans, even though he's a New York Giant. And we are going to have probably a ton of Skattebo shares in addition here in regular best ball season, in addition to big board season. So Steve, this has been fun. Check out all the rookie profiles, all the rookie targets in best ball that we have under the best ball a best ball tab on the FanSpeak Network. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to make sure you are subscribed. We have shorts. We have these short strategy shows. We have longer strategy shows, tons of live drafts, all covered here on the FanSpeak Network. So make sure you're subscribed and tell a friend. So this has been fun, Steve. For Steve, I'm Meg, and we will see you next time.